Hello. Today I want to give a quick introduction to Google Sites. Google Sites is a Google app that allows you to build your own website. And this is a good resource for teachers that want to have a quick one-stop place for students to access resources, but don't necessarily need or want students to sign into a website such as the Google Classroom. This is especially useful if you have littles that can't quite log in yet. All you have to do is copy and paste an address for them or maybe bookmark it, and they can get to all your resources. So to get started, you're either going to go to the Google App Launcher, always located on the right here on a Google web page, or up in your bookmarks bar, or you can type the address directly. Now, normally for most Google apps, you just put the name of the app in front of google.com. So for sites, it would be sites.google.com. However, they have updated their Google Sites website. You can still type the sites.google.com, and it will take you to the old website, which will in turn direct you to the new website, which is just at sites.google.com/new. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the new Google Sites. You can see the link here over on the left-hand side. And then I'll be ready to get started. So once Google Sites opens, it'll take me to my home page, and it'll show me all of my websites that I'm either an owner of or an editor of. So for example, this web page I'm an owner of, whereas the district math web page, I'm not the owner, I didn't start it, but I do have editing rights. So it's here on my home page as well. So to start a new Google site, you come find your trusty plus sign that we see so often in Google Apps, and you're going to go ahead and click it. And just because I have one Google site doesn't mean I can't start a new one. I can have multiple sites that are owned by me or edited by me. So I'm going to go ahead and create this one, and I'm just going to give it a sample name. I'm going to call it a training website. So when I start my new Google site, it'll automatically take me to a home page. Every Google site has a home page that's kind of set up pretty basic. It's going to have a header, and then it's going to have an opening where I can just kind of type a quick introduction. So here's my home page. You can see up at the top is my header. That's where I'm going to put the title of my web page. Now, when I click in a text box, I don't have quite as many features as I would in a normal text document. I don't have the different font options. All I have are some basic preset text fonts. So I have normal text, which is about 11 font. The title, which is about a 24 in bold. A heading, which is still about a 22, 24, but it's not bolded. And then our subheading, which is still about the same size, but not as dark. And then, of course, our teeny tiny font that's about a 910. So I'm going to go ahead and call this training. I can also bold it, italicize it. I can either center it or justify left, right. I can put in a website link, and then I can just start over. And then if I want to get rid of the text completely, I can use my trash can. And you'll see this trash can a lot on the website. It's just a quick way to get rid of things that you're building and then you decide you don't want. Now, you'll notice I can't put in any different colors. I can't change to a new font. I just kind of have to go with the presets. The only options I have for changing fonts colors is to pick a new theme. So if I come over here to the right, I have my 3 menu choices: insert, pages, or themes. So I click my theme, And Google has some preset themes that I can choose from. And then, of course, I can change the colors within the theme. And then this is where I would make some choices in the font. Again, I don't have the hundreds of fonts that I can choose in Word or Docs. I just have kind of my 3 different weights of font. So besides the themes, I also have the option of putting in my own image or searching one from the internet. So to simplify things for now, I'm just going to choose from Google's generic gallery. I'm going to choose these lovely Post-its. But as you can see, I could also go to a specific website where I know a picture's located. I can use Google's databases, or I can upload from my computer or my Google Drive. And then once I have my header, I can come down to my white space, my blank space here, and it really is kind of like a blank canvas. This is where I can insert any different kind of media that I could imagine from the internet. To do that, I'm going to come over here to the right again, and I'm going to click Insert. And you're going to see a few choices. My 4 most common, which would be a text box, an image, basically a web link, which you would be embedding, but instead of taking somebody, an embed is when you take somebody, check that, is when you don't have to take someone to an external website. You can see what you want to see right here on the web page, for those of you that didn't know what an embed is. Or I can pull it in from my Google Drive. If I want something beyond that, I can scroll down, and that's where I'm going to see probably my less popular but still useful choices, such as a calendar, if I wanted to put a calendar in. If I wanted to put a video directly from YouTube, again, I could embed that video so I don't have to take people to the external YouTube site. They can watch the video straight from my page. You see an image carousel where it will show a slideshow of pictures, map, any of your other Google apps, a doc, a form, a slide, a sheet, etc. And then I also have these different layouts that I can preset on my web page. So for example, if I know I'm going to have several pictures, I can go ahead and pick this picture website, and then I can go ahead and start putting those in without some of the hassle of one by one saying, please insert, please insert, please insert. So from there, to build your main page, it's pretty much, again, up to your imagination. Whatever you want to put on there, you're free to do. Although most people for their homepage like to keep it pretty simple and put the real meat and potatoes into subpages. So let's talk about how to make a subpage. So here from my home page, I come over to the right, and my middle menu option is Pages. And there's my home page. It's always going to be called my home page unless I come in here. I can change, I can make a duplicate page. So if I want this page slightly altered, I can make a new page and make my alterations. I can come back in here and change some of those properties, like the theme, like the heading, and again, that's where I'm going to change the name if I want. And then from here is where I add my subpages. These are going to be the links within my page that get me to those more specific topics. So I'm going to go ahead and add my subpage. And I'm going to call this one Videos. I want to have a subpage that's dedicated solely to videos I want my kids to watch. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Videos subpage in. And you'll see whenever I go to my Pages menu over here on the right, I can always see a drop-down menu from my home page of any subpages I have. I can put subpages within subpages. If I wanted to have different pages of videos, I could do that. You'll also notice that up here now in the right-hand corner of my Google site is a new drop-down menu. and it's always going to be listed as my home page and going to have a drop-down menu of my subpages. So anywhere I go within my Google site, I can get to this drop-down of my subpages. I can navigate my web page. And again, once I get to this page, I go back to the Insert tab, and I have all those options again. I can put in text, I can put in pictures, I can put in links to websites, I can put in, again, pretty much any digital media that I have access to or that I could imagine within the internet, which is a pretty big category. So once I've built my web pages and I'm pretty satisfied with how they are, I come up here to the top and I have a few options. Of course, I always have my undo and redo buttons. So as you're working through your Google site, I make an oops, I didn't want to do that. Quick way to get rid of it is just to undo. Now, you'll notice Google Sites does not have the history that a Google Doc or a Google Sheet does. So I can't go back in time necessarily and see what the page looked like, say like 5 iterations ago. So undo is going to be a lot more helpful on this page than on, say, some of the other pages where I can go back and look at my revision history. I can also preview the website. So when I'm getting ready to publish, and I think I'm in my final stages, I can see what it's going to look like to people who have a link to my website. I can navigate through, see if it's user-friendly. And then once I'm done, I want to get back to my editing page. I just close out down here at the bottom. My little button that looks like a paperclip, that's always going to be my link button. And in this case, this is going to give me the shareable link that I can give to other people. So this is what I'm going to publish to get the kids to come to my website, or this is the link that I'm going to bookmark. So the kids using the iPads can just hit favorites and come to my website. If I want to add collaborators, I can do that. I just hit my share, and just like anything in Google, just add a email, or in the case of using your district account, just put the person's name in. It'll search the district directory and find that user. My cogwheel, of course, also is my settings button. But you don't have a whole lot of settings to deal with because most of the settings you need are over here in your editing tabs. But if you're interested in looking through them, feel free, knock yourself out. We have our hot dog, which has a few more settings that you can use to refine your page. And as it appears, they do have a revision history in Google Sites. This is apparently new, and it was a surprise to me. Yay, you're learning along with me. So now you can go back and look at your revision history, just like you could in a doc or a Google Sheet or a Google Slide. So I'm kind of happy I made this video because now I learned something too. Again, I can make a copy. So if I want to make a copy of this site, but then alter it slightly for alternative purposes, I can. And of course, your help options. Once I'm finally done, I want the world to see my Google site. The last button is publish. If I don't hit this publish button, my changes that I've made are still saved, but nobody can see them. So if, as I'm building my site, if I want to build my site over a series of days, but I don't want people to see the changes till I'm finally ready, feel free. Go ahead, make all the changes you want, take all the time you need. Nobody's going to see them until you hit this publish button. So once I hit the publish button, it's going to ask me to put in a web address. I don't want to make up my own. I also want to check and make sure that I'm publishing to who I want it to publish. Do I want anybody to see this, or do I want just certain people? So maybe I want people, only specific people. But I'm going to leave it up to my RPS colleagues because I feel pretty okay with letting them see that. So I'm going to hit save. Again, this is where I could add collaborators if I wanted to. And I have those choices. I could make them an editor, or I just want them to see my published site. Now, if I don't want to generate my own website, I'm going to cancel that for a second. I got to give my website a name. That's the last thing I didn't do. I put a heading on my homepage, which kind of felt like I gave my webpage a name, but it doesn't really count as a name until I come up here to the file name, just like I would with my other Google apps, like a doc or a slide. I have to give it some sort of name. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to call it training as well. Now my webpage has a name. And again, you can see it up here in my left-hand corner. Now when I go to that publish button again, oh, it's going to generate a web address for me that's going to have that training name in it. Now it's going to let me hit that publish button, and I didn't even have to make up a web page. Again, if you're really passionate about designing a URL for your web page, have at it, feel free, but you don't have to. So I'm going to hit my publish button, and Google's going to generate a URL for me. Now that little paperclip, that's my publish link. It's nice and highlighted. I can click on it now. And here's the web address for my web page that I can now feel free to share, to publish, to link anywhere I want, and give people access to my web page. So this is a quick overview of Google Sites. Of course, there's a lot you can do with it, but basically I'm just going to advise you, start diving in, play with it, see what you can do with it, see how you can make it useful for your classroom. Of course, if you would like more advice, more help, you start getting into it, and what if, feel free to contact me, jill.briscoe@rps205.com. Thank you.